Hey everybody, hope you're having an awesome and blessed day. Coach Curtis Phelan here. Sharing my notes. I believe it is I forget. No, I remember. It's day 9, I believe. Day 9 of 30x Wealth, Brad Sugar's 30th Wealth. I'm sharing my notes from that. Let me double check. I believe, yeah, day 9. So we're talking about seasons or cycles of the economy and what to learn and know and look for. So you know what season we're in, whether it's real estate, stocks, the general market, so that we can start to create wealth in our lives. So let me share my screen. For jumping on here, everybody. This is I'm just recording this on Zoom, so um, if you have any questions on this stuff, just comment below. I'll do my best to keep it as short as possible, but I want to share my notes of this course I'm going through with Brad Sugars, 30x Wealth. Today's pretty cool, pretty awesome. Shouldn't be too long. Let me just share my screen here. That stuff is pretty awesome, pretty awesome. I've heard these before, but this goes really into more depth than anything I ever learned about the cycles of or the seasons of the economy of the market. And this is vital for most people to know and learn. And it takes a long time to learn this stuff. You probably have to go through, the economy of the world works in 7 to 10 year cycles or seasons. Kind of best way to look at the cycles is seasons, right? So Rad, here in this course, he made this really pretty simple to understand. So we're going to use a clock to understand the seasons. Okay. Or, so this time to this time, we're in this season, etc. And, I'll share with you here my notes on what to look for, what to do, what not to do, what to prepare for so that you don't get hurt, right? Caution, worry. So anyways, we're going to look at a clock for the seasons. Now, 12 o'clock would be the top of the market, right? We're at the top of the economic market. This is when you have rising real estate values. Now, if we have 100% mortgages, right, they start to be offered. Boom, we're at the very top of the market, right, or maybe just after the very top, because real estate has a little bit of a lag on these seasons. So we're done. It's the very very top of the ladder of the cycle. When they start doing 100% mortgages and things, that type of stuff. If any of you recall here in the United States, back 2008, the big mortgage boom, bust or real estate bust. That was it at the top, and it just crashed, right? So that was a little bit behind. Now, this is also when like your Uber driver, right? I wrote this down. So your Uber driver, he said cab driver, right? So your Uber driver, your brother-in-law is telling you they're on the third property or investment. They're telling you what to invest in, that types of things. We're probably at that top of the boom when everybody is in the market and doing things. Okay. Rents are real low at the top, things like that. Then we have fall. Okay, so we have fall, right? Winter, spring. If you're looking at seasons, fall, winter, spring, summer. Hopefully, you guys can see the screen here. And I'll use a highlighter again. Actually, you know what? I'd like to use a pointer. That might be better. A highlighter kind of messes it up a little bit here. So let's see if there's a pointer available. I don't see. Yeah, is that a pointer? No, that's not a pointer. We'll use a highlighter. Okay. All right. So we use a highlighter. So we're here at fall. That's not working for some reason. Highlight. Fall. There we go. So fall. All right. So we have fall. So between 12 and 1 o'clock, right? We're going into fall. You have rising interest rates. If you're looking at the stock market, there's an over surplus. It's a buyer's market. Like if you're looking at real estate, it's a buyer's market at this point. There's an over surplus of real estate. So there's just more sellers than buyers, right? Now, around the 1 o'clock, where there's you're in fall, there's a rising interest rates. There's a slowdown of the marketplace. Usually, this happens about a year before most people notice it. Okay, so we're talking about these. This is a 7. So if you look at the clock, it's a 7 to 10 year cycle. Okay, for seasons. So right here, there's a slowdown in the marketplace. And when people are aware of it, we're usually like, 6 months to a year behind. So once we're here, let's say between 1 and 2 o'clock, it's already been happening probably 6 months to a year previous to that. Okay. So at 2 o'clock, you have falling share prices. Okay, so this is where there's a slowdown, um, things like that. Let me go back. If you were looking in investing in stocks and shares and things like that, at the top, you're looking at large capital companies, things like that, more stable companies. Um, Short-term treasuries between 12 and 1 o'clock. Down here between 1 and 2 o'clock, you're looking at defensive sectors, anything that does well in a downturn when things are turning down, like necessities, things that people need. Um, Between 2 and 3 o'clock, you have falling commodity prices, oil, gold, coffee, things like that. If you're looking at investing, you're looking at high quality assets, things like gold, things like that. The big money, that's where it's going. So that will tell you. So that's just in the slowdown. Now, from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, right? That's the recession. That's winter. If you're looking at stocks, you're looking at long-term treasuries. Between that 3 and 4 o'clock, there's falling construction prices, right? There's an oversupply of people aren't buying supplies. There's an oversupply of tradespeople, painters, construction workers, things like that. That they're becoming more available. They might be going into unemployment and things like that. The other thing is, what was this, failing overseas reserves? Yeah, so basically countries, they start bringing their money back into their country. They stop investing overseas. This tells you you're in a recession. Okay, this is going on right now. Okay, and at least in the United States. So we're in a recession. Q4 is going to get real bad. So we're right around here, probably 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, somewhere in here. If you're going to be investing in stocks and things like that, you want to be looking at long-term treasuries, growth stocks, things like that. But this is where companies, they start investing back in in the country. So U.S. would start investing more in the U.S. than overseas, China, and things like that. So that's how you know you're in a recession. And again, remember, once we start becoming aware of this stuff, we're already kind of behind 6 months to a year. Okay, so between 4 and 5 o'clock, there's more sellers than buyers in the real estate area, at least in the real estate sector. Money tightens, borrowing's harder, getting credit is harder, things like that. That's when you know you're going into winter. Okay, so we're in winter then. There's rising unemployment, things like that. That's a great time to buy your neighbor's farm. I love that. If you learn these cycles, right? You want to learn these cycles, and probably it's going to take you a 7 to 10 years cycle to learn all of this. Okay, and then each cycle, excuse me, is going to get better and better and better. I need some water. I've been on this computer for hours. It's just been a long day. What was I saying? Oh, so it's a great time to buy your neighbor's farm, right? If you learn these cycles and prepare in advance, right? You don't want to be like here in recession and then start focusing on recession and growth stock stuff. You want to focus on the next cycle. Okay. So I should reiterate that. You want to be focusing on, now if you're in recession, you want to be focusing on the bottom, right? Winter and then spring, things like that, right? So we're not in winter yet, right? We're in the beginning of recession here, here in the United States at least, right? So you probably want to be looking at winter, getting prepared and ready for winter. Okay. Now, it's not like a set so many years. It could be a longer or shorter winter, right? Like the seasons. Spring could be a little bit longer, a little shorter, right? That type of stuff. But anyways, right around here right before winter, like I said, there's more sellers than buyers in the real estate sector. Money tightens, borrowing's harder. Great time to buy if you prepared, right? It's going to be winter. People, they lost their homes, lost their farms, things like that. Rising unemployment. You can get things at a value. This is where the big money makes bigger money. Okay. They prepare for winter, and this is where they start buying things. At the bottom is, and they call this like caution, right? This is a cautionary area, cautionary time. There's falling real estate values around 6 o'clock. You want to be investing in things like capital bonds, rate sensitive sector, small cap, high yield bonds, things like that. And this means we're already starting to get into the recovery mode when you're at the bottom, right? Once we're aware of it. But recovery usually starts in other markets before real estate. So real estate's usually lagging. So that means we're already kind of just almost past that what's the word I'm looking for? That cycle. Okay. Now, so it's usually behind stocks and all that types of things, real estate. at the bottom, this is when people have no confidence in the markets. Banks are repossessing properties, but there's a lot of good deals to be done. This is when you want to be investing and harvesting now if you're prepared. Okay, this is when all the billionaires and gazillionaires, right? This is where they make their money. They prepare all year, all through all these seasons, and then they get ready probably around 4 or 5 o'clock to just start snatching up everything before spring. Okay, so you learn this stuff, you can create some serious wealth for yourself. Like I said, it's probably take you one cycle to learn it, and then each 7 to 10 year cycle, you'll get better and better and better. So start now. I'm 51, so I wish I started this, a couple cycles ago, right? and what stinks is I started to, because I learned this stuff years ago when I worked for Tony Robbins. But back then I didn't it was tough. We were starting the coaching industry. No one knew what coaching was. We weren't making much money. Things like that. So it was, I just mentally was not in a good place. Now, Brad, who's teaching this, he started learning all this stuff in his teens. He had the mental capacity, I guess, learning through his father and his family and things. He just had that mental capacity to focus on this stuff. I didn't back then. Other things were on my mind. So, so anyways, if you wherever you are, start now, because it is a 7 to 10 year cycle. And you want to start learning these cycles so you can benefit from them and grow and prosper. So anyways, back to the point. So then when we get into spring, this is now we're in spring when rentals increase because people lost their homes, things like that. We're in the recovery mode. There's falling interest rates, as you can see right here. I don't know why this highlighter is not highlighting. What am I doing wrong here? There we go. Let's try that. There we go. All right, so you're in the recovery mode. Spring rentals increase, like I said, because people, they lost or sold their homes. They need a place to live, things like that. So it's harder to find rentals. More people are renting. Falling interest rates. If you're looking on the inside of the circle here, just so you know, if you're looking at this diagram, the inside around here, this is the types of shares and stocks you should be looking at. Now, again, consult your advisor. I'm not a financial advisor by any means. Like I said, I'm just learning this stuff again, or relearning it and attempting to implement it, or actually implementing it. So all of my notes in here, if you're looking at this, that's for shares and stocks and things like that. On the outside, I was using real estate as an example. Okay. So we're looking at, if you recall from yesterday, you probably want to be looking at building businesses, investing in real estate and shares, stocks, things like that. Okay. Now, to create wealth, unless you're a rock star, right? Superstar, or you're going to marry into money or inherit money, right? Our options for most of us are build a business and invest our money into real estate and shares and stocks and things. All right. So now when we go from 7 to 8 o'clock after spring here, we start to recover. We're in the recovery mode here. This is where the early movers have already started to buy the markets. They believe that the market's going to start moving again, real estate, stocks, things like that. This is where you start to see these big, increases of stock buying, real estate buying, things like that by the big investors. This is where stock levels tighten. There's more buyers coming into the market. Like I said, you see these big buy purchases and things like that. This is where I think real estate prices start to fall. I believe this is supposed to say. Oh, sorry. This is where real place. See, I'm just learning this. I just learned this 15 minutes ago. Because I literally go through the course and then I just share what I wrote down. So real estate prices start to rise here. Okay, they're rising here. Now, this is where you want to be investing in municipals, value stocks, local government, commodities. Start, putting a lot of money into those types of things. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock is where overseas equities companies, so the government starts investing again in overseas, like the U.S. would start investing in wherever, China, whatever, wherever they're going to be investing next, the Ukraine, things like that. Then you have the boom cycle there around 9 o'clock, rising commodity prices, real estate valuations starting to rise, things like that. Let me move my picture out of the way here. Then between 10 and 11 o'clock, now you're starting to go into summer, right? So we're almost doing full circle. That's the bull run, right? We're getting into the bull run. You're You're in an economic summer, easier money. It's easier to find money, get loans, things like that, borrow from the banks, more real estate buyers and sellers. Media starts to kick in. So you're here when the media starts to hype buying real estate, things like that, get into the market. You can make a ton in real estate, things like that. You're probably here in that economic summer, that bull run. This is where most people, you don't even have to know what you're doing. You probably know people that just didn't know what they were doing and they made money. I remember the real estate market, especially here in Naples, Florida, where I live. And at the time, I was providing all the coaching for Mark Leader Courses, which is North America's #1 real estate sales training company. We're actually just about to launch a new coaching program for that, because Mark went out and he went out and he sell. If you don't know who Mark Leader is, watch one of my reels from yesterday. Mark went out and crushed it in real estate over the last few years. He took kind of a hiatus from speaking and training that he had been doing for 35 years. He went out for a couple of years just to see what the market really is. Because when we step away from an industry and we start teaching, coaching, training, we're not out there doing it every day. Even though the techniques and strategies work, we're not necessarily out there doing it. So he wanted to make sure it's, are there new things to learn? Do we need to change or adjust? So he went out and tested the market, and he crushed it. So anyways, this is where you're in that economic, but where my point was, I remember back before the whole real estate bust, I call it, the mortgage bust or whatever, people were just flipping properties and making money left and right, whether you were in mortgage or real estate, just making retarded money, not to insult anyone, I'm just using that word, just ridiculous money. People had no clue. Everyone's becoming a real estate investor, just flipping houses. It was insane. It was totally insane. And then they couldn't believe it when it just crashed, But this is where, you hear these stories. Oh, I just flipped 3 homes, became a millionaire this year because of flipping homes and things like that. So that's where you're in that economic summer. That's that bull run. Okay. Anyways, I got a bit of a cold, I think, so I'm fighting. So anyways, at the top when rents are low, things like that. So anyways, hopefully this explains the cycle, right? So there's seasons, there's a 7 to 10 year cycle. If you look at it as a clock, these are the things. I haven't stepped away from this computer or the phone for about 6 hours right now, so I need to take a break. But this is where, this is what you want to focus on. This is what you want to learn. Let me go down to my notes here. The market works on 4 different seasons, right? And we use the clock to go through that. It's a 7 to 10 year cycle. Like a farmer, end of summer, you're harvesting all you can before the slowdown kicks in, before winter, right? Taking care of things so that you can survive through the economic winter. Okay, so that's how you could look at it: economic summer, winter, spring, fall, right? Or you know what I mean. So as long as we've stocked up on everything, right, we'll be okay. Now, if you haven't, get ready. It's gonna be rough, right? Some winters are longer than others. I already went over that, like the real estate crash. I went over all that, or they call it the mortgage crash, right? Whatever they want to call it. Crash. Investing is all about understanding 10 years. Okay, that was cool. Investing is about understanding 10 years. People with a 10-year outlook on money are good investors. People with a less than 10-year outlook on money are bad investors. Okay, not bad, like you're naughty, but right, poor investors. Because the cycle is a 7 to 10 year cycle. So you got to think, if you're going to invest in things, most people, and here's the thing, most people wait until 11 o'clock, right? If you're looking at the clock, they wait till 11 o'clock before they realize that we've recovered. And that's when they start doing things, but then it's over. By the time they get things going and they're doing things, it's over and they've missed it. So, learn these cycles. The most money, remember, the most money is made at the bottom between 5 and 8 o'clock. So if you've prepared all year and you're ready to buy the neighbor's farm, right, so to speak, you're ready to buy businesses, real estate, things like that are going to be at a bargain, because people are, they weren't prepared for winter. So now they got to sell at a discount. You can scoop that up and really profit on the upswing. Okay. So the most money's made between 5 and 8 o'clock. That's when you should be buying and riding that boom, right? I just mentioned that. So watch the news right now, the paper, find out where your market is, whatever part of the world you're in, and prepare for the 6 to 12 months from now. Because here's the thing, whatever market you're in now, realize that you're probably a little beyond that, because usually we don't even know where we are, for about 6 or 12 months. Okay. So, yeah, what else did I have on here? Oh, yeah. So just, you can always go look at historical highs and lows in different cycles, like real estate, stocks, things like that, and start to understand the cycles. It is a cycle. It's pretty regular, right? 7 to 10 years. Some are a little long, summer might be a little longer, shorter this year, or winter might be a little longer, or shorter this year. But it's a 7 to 10 years, so to speak. Okay. Now, trading is very different. That's short-term gains. That's not investing. So investing, an investor, like I said, you're looking at 10 years. If you don't think that investment is going to dramatically improve in 10 years, don't invest in it, right? If you're just looking for that quick gain, you think it's just a now thing, I got to get in now and make money. No, don't do it. If it's not, you don't think that's something you can get in over the next 10 years, it's going to keep growing and growing and growing, don't get involved if you're looking to invest. Now, if you're looking for a quick flip trading, I did Forex trading, things like that. You can make money in the up, the down, short term, daily, that type of stuff. That's different. That's not investing, right? That's trading. That's working for your money. So here we go. Yeah. So it's going to take you at least one 7 to 10 year cycle to learn this stuff. Okay. Each cycle, you're going to do better and better. Usually, he said, usually like your second or third cycle, right? So let's say 30 years from your third cycle from now. So let's say, I'm 51. So if I started today, right now, when I'm 61, I've now learned this stuff. That means from 61 to 71 is where I'm going to do a lot better. And if I live long enough, 71 to 81 is where I'm going to make a massive amount of wealth. Now, I can attest to that because I have an uncle that he does extremely well now, but he's in his 70s. Okay, super smart, intelligent, like most amazing guy I've ever known. Everybody loves him, but he really didn't make his money, till probably the last 10 years or so. So he's actually more advanced than me, because I'm probably gonna have to wait till I'm his age, till I'm really making his kind of money. But he started earlier and he's a smart guy. But wherever you're at now, realize it's going to take you 7 to 10 years. Realize where's my market right now. That's the homework, actually. Figure out where your market is. Where's the real estate market? Where's the stock market? Where's your general market at? And then say, okay, here's where I'm at. Let me learn and prepare for the next cycle. So let's say we're in fall, right? So if we're in fall, for example, start learning and preparing for winter. Okay. And then learn that 7-10 year cycle. By the end, you'll start to understand the stuff. So now, okay, so the next cycle's coming, right? The next season's coming. Now you're going to do better, right? For that 7 to 10 year term. Then the next one, you're going to do even better, right? You're going to really do well. Okay. If that makes sense. So we got to start thinking now 10 years ahead, 10-year cycles. And it's funny because I learned this stuff a long time ago. I didn't mean to highlight that like that. But my original mentor, Tony Robbins, he told me he had designed his life at a young age in 10-year cycles. And this is why, right? There are seasons to everything. Okay. It's a 7 to 10 year cycle, 7 to 10 year cycle. Tony had said from this, this age to this age, I'm going to be focused on this. From this age to this age, I'm going to be focused on this. Right now, I think back then, you see, what is this, 2023? I believe, yeah. And if you look, I believe, in his last 10 years, it was more spiritual, right? So focusing more on spirituality and things like that. So I don't think he's quite there yet, but I know he's getting close to focusing on that part of his life. But he had his life laid out in those because he understood seasons. So we need to start understanding that there are seasons. These are laws of nature, right? The seasons, laws of the universe, laws of money, things like that. They all work in cycles, and it's a pattern. We need to start to recognize patterns. So anyways, I hope you benefited from this. If you did, great. Please like or comment. If you didn't, let me know. I'll stop doing the videos, but I hope it helps somebody. It's going to take time, so start now. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by those people. They say, oh, I just made a ton of money. If they don't know the cycles, if they made that money for example, investing when they didn't even realize they were in the bull run and the upturn. They just was like dumb luck. Don't follow that person. Don't invest in their thing because it was just dumb luck. You know, it was just happenstance. Look for someone that understands the cycles, knows the cycles, is doing the cycles, and they know what to invest in next. Not, hey, you're rushing now, buy a bunch of this stuff, you're gonna make a ton of money. No. We're now going into the next cycle, and you need to know and understand that cycle and what to invest in. Okay, like I just went over in here, whether it's real estate, right on the outside here, whether it's real estate. Oh, my highlighter's not working. There is real estate. Those are the types of investments there. Stocks, things like that. And here, that's not working because it is yellow. Let me change the color. Try green. Ooh, it's pretty. Okay. Sound like that kind of fluffy little clouds, you know. But anyways, these are the types of investments in stocks, and the inner side you want to focus on the different types of cycles, you know, and it's easy to look at a clock to understand that cycle. So anyways, enough on that. Thanks for your time, guys. I'm going to jump off, eat some dinner, take a little break. I've been on the phone and internet since probably 8 o'clock this morning. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, comment, share. Love and appreciate you all. Thanks for your time. Have a blessed night. Take care.